Nothing exposes the gaps in postpartum weight loss advice like bounce back culture. The pressure hits immediately, the support disappears overnight, and somehow you're expected to have it all figured out on your own. This is Nourished Mamas, the postpartum weight loss podcast, and I'm Mallory, a registered dietitian, weight loss coach, and mom who knows how disorienting this season can feel. Postpartum brings a whole new set of challenges no one prepares you for. The cravings that hit out of nowhere, the mom brain that makes everything take twice as long, the afternoons that feel impossible to push through, and the pressure to bounce back when you're just trying to get through the day. Here, we talk honestly about what's going on behind all of that, in a way that actually makes sense, and I'll walk you through simple, realistic changes that help you feel more steady, more energized, and more confident in your body again. No extremes, no shame, and no complicated systems that you'll want to abandon within the next 2 days. Just practical support that fits into your mom life, the messy, loud, beautiful, exhausting version, not Pinterest version. If you're ready to understand what your body is doing and finally have a plan that works in this season, let's get started.
Hi there, and welcome back to Nourished Mamas, the postpartum weight loss podcast. If you're watching the video, you probably see my friend Gimli. He's my cat. He's acting like a parrot right now and is all up on my shoulder. Let's dive in though to talking about today's episode, which really, let's dive into that feeling and belief of if I had a better plan, I'd be consistent. And this is a belief that is going to keep you stuck. It will keep you spinning your wheels. And while it sounds great on paper, these perfect plans fall apart as soon as life gets busy, which as moms is literally every day. Things are going to happen. Things will come up, whether it's plans that you have that come out of nowhere that you forgot to put on your calendar, or maybe you just are getting busier at work because of project deadlines, etc. So what is going to make the biggest difference is small habits that carry you through that chaos to really anchor that in instead of relying on big plans that have a ton of steps, and then they may look good on paper, but it's not going to do the work. The small habits that you don't have to think about, that is what is going to make the biggest impact. So why do these bigger plans and diets and writing everything out and saying, I'm going to do all of these things? We're in January still. Are you still doing your New Year's resolutions? And why might that have fallen off already? In postpartum, whether you are 3 months in, 3 years in, you might not have the best sleep right now. When we have young children, they are very disruptive to our sleep a lot of the time. You may have unpredictable schedules, whether that's at work, with doctor's appointments, whatever that looks like. And then you have the mental load of dealing with grocery shopping, dinner plans, making sure you know what you're going to have on hand for breakfast. How many berries are your kids going through? Did you buy the Costco amount of something that they loved last week, and then this week they won't even touch it? There's so much that goes into motherhood and thinking and planning and life in general. Even outside of our children, there's just so much going on. And so that's really why those overhauls don't stick. It's too many changes at once. You have to rely too thoroughly on willpower. And it's not so much that this plan wouldn't work if you could build it out over time, but doing it all at once, it's a systems issue. It's not a personal failing. This is something that we can work on. We can build out those big elaborate routines, but it might start with one habit at a time. And then as it gets easier, you can add more in. So what's going to work when you're doing this? Small habits, what I'm talking about here, if you've read the book Atomic Habits, this is kind of where I'm going with this. But James Clear published a book years ago now that talks about the teeny tiny 1% changes during the day that will add up to a huge percentage over time. I'm not going to give you the nitty gritty details. He's very good at listing all of that out in his book. He's got a website with a ton of great information as well. I can drop that in the show notes. But what we're looking for is low effort, repeatable, and then attaching it to your existing routines. This is where I've seen the most success with myself, but also with my clients. So we're looking for that consistency over intensity. We want to really build it out as something that you can continue to do and not have to think about. So we're looking for momentum. We're not looking for willpower. We're looking for those small little changes that 2 weeks from now, you just do and you don't have to think about it at all. I'll give you some examples, but when you're looking at habit stacking, something you already do. So in the morning, you wake up. That's pretty consistent. You may have an alarm that goes off, and if you struggle with consistently snoozing your alarm, sleeping past it, this is where you can start out the day making some tweaks. Maybe you put your phone across the room when you go to bed at night. So it's either like up on your dresser and you have to get out of bed to go find your phone. I put mine in my bathroom. It's like 3 steps out of my bedroom, but it's right next to my toothbrush, and brushing my teeth immediately wakes me up. So I put my phone in the bathroom. When I wake up the next morning, I usually use the bathroom, brush my teeth, and then I just added in a little bit extra this last week because I've been consistently waking up at the same time, brushing my teeth, doing all the things. That kind of got lost during pregnancy. Teeth brushing and pregnancy do not go hand in hand for me. So I really had to build that back out in the morning. But basically, what I've added in now is some of my skincare. So that sunscreen in the morning, a little bit of vitamin. I think it's retinol, so I don't know if that might be vitamin A, but like the little skin creams and stuff and the sunscreen before I take my dog out in the morning. So, like, all of those things are things that I wanted to either build on or already had to do. So, in the morning, you have to wake up. I have to take my dog out no matter what. So, building out a few steps in between has really helped me make a difference. So some of those nighttime tweaks can really help, where like I'm putting my phone in the bathroom, all of those things. And then it might feel awkward. So this is something that I spoke to a client about recently where they were explaining to me like they stopped using their phone at night. And over the first couple of days, it felt really weird. They felt like they wanted to go get it, but they stuck with it. And instead of staying up until midnight, 3, whatever, scrolling on their phone, their brain was able to start turning off and going to sleep. And part of that started even before putting the phone across the room, but with their nighttime routine that they had built out with their own showering, skincare, etc. And so it might look different for you than it does for me or than this client. But after about 2 weeks, they mentioned to me that they don't have to think about it anymore. She no longer has to think about putting her phone across the room. She no longer has to think about waking up in the morning after working a late night because it's just something that she does. So this becomes the foundation where you can build in the next habit. For me, in the morning, that looked like making my coffee, taking my vitamins, and drinking some water. I always make my coffee. I know that. I have it in my hand because I get parched during these recordings. So I want to make sure I have a drink handy. I've got a bubbly water here too, but the coffee is what's in the hand. So I know that I'm going to be making coffee. So to make sure that I stay consistent with taking my vitamins, that goes right in there while I wait for the coffee to brew. And it gets me that water intake already started for the day. I don't have to think about this. This is just something that I do. It's something that I built out. I used to have to think about it. I used to forget my vitamins all the time because I would just try and take them when I remembered. And that is not helpful to me at all. That has never been something that works. So let's look at some of the things that might help you to make your habits easier. So this is one of the key things. You want to look at your environment and think of what's going to make your habits the easiest. So if you want to be exercising when you get home from work, Do you need to have your shoes out and visible? Do you need to pack a bag to go to the gym on your way home from work or on your way to work? What does it look like to make sure that you have everything that you need to complete the habit? And then the next thing you can do is make unhelpful habits harder. So my phone no longer in reach at night. Um, you can take your apps off of your home screen if you feel like you're constantly scrolling. I've had to delete games off my phone because I would get sucked in and then realize, like, oh, shoot, an hour's gone by and I haven't done anything. I've just been playing this game on my phone. So that was something that I knew wasn't helpful and I needed to tweak it. So I just deleted those games so I don't have to even think about it now. And then you can tie in these habits based off of what your goals are. If you want a long-term goal of like better sleep, easier mornings, more consistency, something that I have been adding in also like with breakfast. I don't always eat breakfast right away, but I'm usually, now that I've been doing this more consistently, hungry enough that a protein shake will get me through until I'm feeding my son an hour or two after I get up. So that way I'm not skipping breakfast. So honestly, it's not uncommon to skip breakfast. It's not uncommon to snack throughout lunch. I've talked about that with you guys before on the podcast, but this is how I combat it, especially working from home. When I was in my office, when I worked at a health department locally, and I was there from 7:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. So I had to build out routines at work to make sure I was getting in some extra movement, walking around the office, having snacks that I could turn into a meal so that I didn't have to constantly order DoorDash. Um, and this was, I don't know, 2019, 2018, 2019. So it was before COVID and before DoorDash was like super accessible in my area of Southern Utah. It's way more accessible now. There's a lot more healthy options these days, but it was something that I constantly had to be on top of because we just had a ton of fast food around my workplace that has shifted now. So there are a lot more healthy options if you are door dashing. Um, but really, just making it easy on yourself. If you're already making coffee, grab something to pair with it, whether that's fruit, whether that's something that has like a whole grain toast with peanut butter. Like pair it out so that you've got some protein, some carbs, some fat, maybe a little bit of fiber. Um, those are going to really help you cut down on grazing. It's going to help you to be able to eat more, like you feel like you're more in control at your meals. This is something that comes up in my client calls a lot, is feeling out of control, especially as they get later into the day. So building out these morning routines, having breakfast with a protein, with fat, with fiber, can help to manage those later in the day cravings. So this is not about perfection. We're not trying to overhaul your entire life. What I would recommend is really just picking one thing to work on. So if you know that you want to work on sleep, pick something around your nighttime routine. If you want to work on breakfast, pick a way in the morning to make sure that that is easier and can happen more quickly. Get some stuff prepped, have some grab and go things ready to go. And this is going to reduce your mental load exponentially. It helps so much. If you just have the habits where you don't have to think about, am I taking my vitamins? Am I eating breakfast? What am I eating for breakfast? What am I doing for lunch today? Building out these habits is going to build in that consistency, and it improves your energy because your body starts to get used to that predictability instead of having a DoorDash meal that has a ton of carbs. Like if you get a pasta or something that doesn't have a lot of vegetables with it, or like I'm thinking of Olive Garden, we would do like the soup salad and breadsticks. You can balance those out quite a lot better than you can like their pasta with breadsticks, basically. So even just choosing things on the menu that have those components and thinking about that when you go to eat or when you go to order your food, like look at the menu, see what's there, and building that out as a habit. So, like when you do eat out, you have some non-negotiables that you want to make sure that you're getting so your energy stays consistent. We can do a whole episode on DoorDash and what to order and all of the things if that would be helpful. But for today, just improving on those habits really gives you that ability to have weight loss. I feel like it's more on autopilot. You don't have to um, start doing something and then feel discouraged because you fell back on your old habits when something came up. You've built new habits so that your new baseline that you fall back to when things get crazy is already going to be supporting you. So that's what we're looking for. If you are thinking about you need to work on this, but you're not sure which habits to start with, how to make them stick, or like what is going to be the best option for you there. I can walk you through it in that Nourished Mama's blueprint. We can dive into your routines, look at where your energy lags might be, and then find ways to build it out for you. In the blueprint, you also get access to both of the courses I have available right now, plus any future courses. I'll be doing some freezer prep courses in the future, but right now we've got the playbook, which is Postpartum Weight Loss Made Easy. It talks you through how to balance your meals, the best ways to really lose weight postpartum, and it has the meal prep survival guide, which is probably one of my favorite courses that I've ever made because it walks you through if you have 10 minutes, if you have 30 minutes, if you have 60 minutes, exactly what to work on. So you don't have to spend all day on Sundays worried about meal prep. So, if any of those sound interesting to you and you want the feedback that comes along with the blueprint, where you get coaching calls, you get support from me, you get the weekly check ins, go ahead and apply for that. But if you only you don't want to start with the whole commitment, but you want to get kind of that sample of the either postpartum weight loss playbook or the meal planning survival kit, meal prep survival kit, which has my meal planning guide as a bonus, then you can check those out as well. So we've got the application linked below, and then I also have those two products individually if you want to start there. And then at any point, we can talk more about the blueprint if that's something that you're interested in later. But we're not going for perfection. I do feel like that's one of the biggest things we need to let go of is we need to build out some systems, especially things that are going to work when life does get messy. So if you want that personalized roadmap, go ahead and apply. I would love to chat with you about the Nourish Mama's Blueprint. And yeah, I will see you soon, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.